Hey, good morning. Vince Giordano with the Juniata County Library, giving you a video today on the author that I believe is the best one you have not heard of when it comes to anti-racism and so on, because that's such a big topic these days. A couple notes for library-related things. Summer reading is still going on for children. Go onto our website or stop in. We'll give you the handouts for that. And our adult summer reading has started as well. We have handouts and everything's online too. And we have an adult summer reading book club. And it's on the second Game of Thrones book, Clash of Kings. If you need a copy, we will mail you a copy for free. And as always, your support of the library today and always is so important. And supporting us today, sustaining us today, is possibly more important than ever. So you can give online or write a check to the library for as little as $2 or as much as you'd like, and know that your support of the library helps everyone, not just those in certain brackets of our community. So today, again, I want to talk about an author that really gets into anti-racism that you probably have never heard of before, and his name is Tim Wise. He's out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he's been around for about 10 or 15 years at least. And I came across him online, and he does a lot of traveling and speaking at universities. And his first book is called White Like Me. It's kind of a take on the Black Like Me book, but this is White Like Me, and this is basically a memoir of him, reflections. And most of his books are kind of thin, slim books. They pack a lot in. But that book really brought me into knowing about him. And I actually, 8 or 9 years ago, saw him speak in Maryland. Got some of his books autographed, and I guess it was right around 2012. So that was an interesting time. And then he's also written a few other books that I want to point out. His titles are very clever. Speaking Treason Fluently, Anti-Racism Reflections. And this one's basically like an open letter. Dear White America. And then his last book that came out, Under the Affluence, that isn't as much about race as it is about the rich and the rest of us. So, then he wrote a couple other books that are really important, I think, to point out, that really stood out. Colorblind. We today, it's easy to think, we see people just as they are. Not as black, not as white, not as Asian, not as Native American, just people. But he believes that it's really important to not forget about those differences, because they bring a lot to the table in the way that we see people. Next book he also wrote, this is one of his first ones, was on affirmative action. And this book taught me a lot about affirmative action. I really didn't know much about it, and you hear a lot of pejorative, negative things about it, but there's actually a lot to learn about it that you might not have known. And then one that really stood out was Between Barack and a Hard Place. Again, a very clever title. And basically, he believed that a variety of things about Barack Obama. That during Obama's years, he actually didn't do a whole lot, standout type things for the African American community. A lot of the things he would say would be, he'd go to a historically black university or college and talk about how fathers and men need to stand up and how they need to have personal responsibility. Kind of the general, run-of-the-mill things that people would say to African Americans, but you just wouldn't expect that from Barack Obama. And then also the burden that it puts on other African Americans to have to measure up to Obama. People look at Obama and all that he's accomplished, and he's become a president 2 terms, and he's obviously very successful. But then do the rest of us look at other African Americans and think, you need to reach that height to actually be successful, and that's not going to happen really for 99% of people. So his books are really great. to read. And he has a lot of blog posts too, and he's on Twitter, and he has a lot of videos of him speaking at universities. One warning I'll give you is he doesn't curse, but he gets really snarky and sharp at times, and gets really mad at people on a certain political end, and really can focus on that. So he can be pretty negative at times, but I think it comes from a really genuine place. Now, his books are pretty, esoteric and not really for the general public, so we don't have any of them, but we can get them through interlibrary loan, or you can buy them online. But he's definitely worth you checking out. So if you need an author to check out, the whole swath of people writing books about anti-racism and white privilege, check out Tim Wise and his books. So thank you for watching, and ask us anything.